Hello and welcome to The Nation. You're joining me, Elaine Abdullah, and you're watching BNC Benama News Channel, where it's all about you. Today's edition is a special one. Yesterday, we witnessed the coronation of our Yang di-Pertuan Agong. He is, of course, Al-Sultan Abdullah Ri'ayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah Ibni Al-Marhum Sultan Haji Ahmad Shah Al-Mustain Billah. And he was, of course, crowned as the 16th Yang di-Pertuan Agong of Malaysia. And today's topic is about the King and I. And who is the I that we're referring to? In the studio, we have Datuk Radha Krishnan. He is the Managing Director of UFL, and he's here to talk to us a little bit about the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. Hello, welcome, Datuk. How are you doing?
Good, thank you, Elaine. It is an honor to come here.
We're very glad to have you in the studio. We understand that you have a relationship with the Yang di-Pertuan Agong, and you perhaps can tell us a little bit more about him. We have all been a little bit fascinated, of course, with our newly appointed Yang di-Pertuan Agong. The Majesty, His Majesty, has made the headlines, has made the news for some of his very down-to-earth characters. He has been known to break fast at the Ramadan Bazaar. Recently, he was also caught stopping his motorcade to assist an accident victim. Besides, of course, lining up at a KFC along with other people when he was looking to buy KFC. No special privileges that he wanted. And of course, we understand that his involvement in football helped in his character building. So far, he has won the hearts of Malaysians with his humility and his down-to-earth attitude. Perhaps you can tell us a little bit more about how you started off meeting with Yang di-Pertuan Agong.
It was 14 years back. I was introduced to His Majesty by one former sports editor from NST, Datuk Lazarus.
Where was this?
It was at one function where Datuk Lazarus invited me to drop by and get to know Our Majesty.
Right.
Because at that time, I think the Manchester United team was coming to Malaysia.
Right.
So maybe, Rock could have told him that I could give him some opinion, give His Majesty some opinion. So that was the first time I met Tonko. That's about 14 years ago.
That was all the way back in 2006. How is it that you are involved in sports?
My background, I grew up in a sports-loving family.
Right.
Same like Our Majesty.
Right.
I played hockey for the school and the district. I also I also represented the school for gymnastics. I was a Boy Scout. I also played soccer and badminton during my free time. So I was very much, and I was also a Boy Scout. So sports was always in my blood. So I grew up, in the sports world, and I made sports as my passion and as my business today.
Yes, I understand that you're with UFL, and you've been in the business for many, many years, and having celebrated your 30th year?
33rd year this year.
33rd year.
33rd this year.
And also celebrating anniversary of the company.
Yeah.
And I guess this is how the relationship started with sports, and Tuanku was the president of FAM at the time when you were saying that you met him for the feedback session.
Yeah. So from there, I got to know Tonko, and Tonko was an inspiration to me because Tonko loved sports so much of passion, so much of love, and Tonko was a very caring person. So one day, I was told that before that, Tonko took over the president of Malaysian Hockey Confederation.
Right.
And it's surprising when everybody thought when Tonko took over the president of MAC that Tonko didn't know much about hockey, but we were caught by surprise when Tonko in a meeting said, I played hockey. I played hockey in my school days and all that. So there's nothing that we can say anything that Tonko doesn't know.
Right.
So I was invited by Tonko to come in as a council member, independent council member, which I accepted. So I came in as an independent council member. And after 1 year, there was a vacancy for the treasurer's post. Tonko caught me by surprise in a meeting, in the council meeting, when the announcement came for a treasurer Tunku pointed to me and Datuk Radha, you take over the treasurer's post. So I was quite stunned for a while, you know. Then eventually I was elected as a vice president of Malaysian Hockey Confederation.
Now, just because having a meeting with Tunku doesn't necessarily mean that a relationship can be built. How is it that there was a relationship between the both of you?
We used to meet quite often,
Right.
other than hockey, for other matters.
Yeah.
So Tunku has always guided me,
Right.
you know, in either in sports or in business, given me very good advice, you know, how to handle things. And I've seen how Tunku handles the meetings, and even in hockey, when our executive board meets, all of them are given a chance to say what they feel about certain matters. And Tunku is very open. And I don't see these, even though I was involved with many other associations, archery, gymnastics and track and field, we never saw a president who's so humble and willing to listen, willing to take some kind of pointers, you know, how to get things done and everything. So, I mean, that really, I mean, it caught me off surprise of the humble person Tunku was.
Is there a memorable
and he's a loving,
moment?
very loving person, you know. Memorable moment, many times in meetings and all that. Coming to hockey, yes, there was a memorable moment. One day during the meeting, Tunku posed a question. He said, in the 70s and 80s, we had a lot of non-Malays in the national team.
Yes.
There was quite a number of Chinese and Indians. So one day, Tunku said, "What happened to where all the Malay player? I mean, the Indian players and the Chinese players. Why I don't see much of them participating? And is there anything we should do about it? Hockey, I mean, the Hockey Confederation should do about it." So I volunteered and I told Tunku, let me go down to the Tamil schools and Chinese schools and see how to promote hockey in that level.
Yeah.
And Tunku gave me his blessing.
Yeah.
So I went down to one Chinese school and 2 Tamil schools and tried to draw them back into hockey.
Right.
And this is one of Tunku's forte.
Right.
Tunku never believed in, I mean, in any particular race should control one's. It should be multiracial. Even in all the interviews, Tunku has said it's all about multiracial, about unity. That is Tunku.
Right. There you go. I think that's one of the things that we can learn from his ability to be able to open up and share the resources, share the pie, share the wealth, share the camaraderie, so that we are able to live in harmony. We'll take a short breather right now. When we come back, let's talk about him as a younger person and his contribution towards other sports besides hockey.
Sure.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more.
Jangan lupa, tontonlah pada setiap Khamis pukul 8.30 malam 1001 Destinasi musim ke-6 di Bernama News Channel. Semuanya tentang anda.
Tiga hari lagi. Cut!
Thanks for staying tuned with Bernama News Channel BNC, where it's all about you. You're watching The Nation with me, Elaine Abdullah. In the studio, I'm speaking to a very special guest. I'm speaking to Datuk Radha Krishnan. He's the MD of UFL. And today, the topic is The King and I. And we're referring to our recently crowned Yang di-Pertuan Agong. Helen, thanks for staying with us here. Dr. Radha, earlier we talked about some of your experiences of your engagements with Yang di-Pertuan Agong. I understand that you have known him for 14 years, as you mentioned earlier, but have you had any stories about him as a younger man?
Not as a young man, because I only got Tonko, but I've heard a lot of good stories about Tonko in his school days, his sporting days, playing days, and everything, which will inspire any Malaysians to follow the examples set by Tonko. But
I understand you said that he's a very fit man.
Oh yes, oh yes. I think at the moment I can safely say that Tonko is the fittest king we ever had in Malaysia. Tonko works out practically every other day, at least for 1 hour or both, and he has a trainer to guide him. And Tonko believes fitness and wellness is how a person can live a good life. Good life. And sometimes I heard that to walk the talk, Tonko also makes the bodyguards to work out with him to make sure that they're also fit, you know.
It only makes sense. If he is fit and they're not fit, how are they supposed to protect him?
Yes, because you know they have a task to perform. So in that aspect, you know, Tonko believes, you know, being a fit person and a healthy person, you know. So I think a lot of us can take that as a clue and, you know, get fit, you know. Talking about your experience about KFC and Tonko stopover, I had one experience. I was with Tonko once in Jandabai, and we were coming back from Jandabai. It was going to be lunch hour. All of a sudden we saw there was a McDonald's near the tunnel. Tonko said, pull over, you know, and I would like to have lunch there. So the security guards were, the bodyguards were a bit panicking, you know, because the restaurant had some people. So they went in, and you know, and Tonko went in and sat in the table, and he said, "Don't, you know, just behave normal, do things normal, you know, and let the rest continue." And Tonko also had his McDonald's there, and I was there, and Tonko, I couldn't believe it, you know. Tonko had so much of humility in him, and he also had a chat with some of the people who were there, you know. I think we have a king who loves his subjects. He has proven that many a times, but all the time in his heart, very close to his heart, is the love he has for his subjects. And he's a very caring person. From my days, I know him when one hockey player is or ex-hockey player is injured or anything, he'll make sure that proper care is given to the person, or you know, monetarily he's taken care in that way, you know.
Which has been shown by of course the viral video that went online on his motorcade stopping to assist accident victims. When he saw someone in need, he automatically didn't you know, think of anything else but to assist the person that is requiring assistance at that point of time. And of course this is the video of him coming down spontaneously,
and that is Tonko. I gather that many times this has happened, well, maybe because now Tonko's spotlight is on the king, so but there's a lot of stories goes behind that, you know, of Tonko's helping, you know, a lot of people who are, you know, in flooded areas and all that.
I think he is a role model that I think a lot of Malaysians can learn to emulate from. I understand that from you in terms of how you're running your organization. I read in some articles that you maintain a very harmonious mix of your staff as well. There's no, like, you know, monopoly of one specific gender, race, people. How do you manage that?
I have about 100 staffs, and I can say this, I'm very proud. I have about 35% Malays, 35% Indians, and 30% Chinese. And another achievement for us, we have employed a lot of ex-sportsmen. We have given them some hope that after your glory days, you still have a chance to grow up in the industry, you know. So we employ a lot of ex-sportsmen, and that is one of our strengths. And a few years ago, about 7 or 8 years ago, we celebrated our 25th silver anniversary, and I went to Tonko. I said, Tonko, I'm celebrating my 25th anniversary. We would like you to be our guest of honor, you know, to come to our building, because I mean, you can see what I built up and everything. Without hesitation, Tonko said, okay, I mean, it'll be nice. Please check with my special officer and confirm the date. And I was stunned, I was shocked, because I thought, Tonko being a very busy man and so many appointments, and he took the trouble. I mean, this is Tonko. This is Tonko. He was so humble about it, and I was just another person, but he came. Tonko and our queen both came to my office to celebrate our 25th anniversary. And Tonko was quite pleased what I was doing for the society, how we are helping the ex-sportsmen. Tonko and our queen spent about 3 hours in the office and had lunch in my office together with my other staffs.
Was it KFC or McDonald's?
I mean, Tonko was very simple.
Right.
That's Tonko.
Yeah.
Nothing elaborate.
Nothing fancy?
Nothing fancy, just a simple lunch.
Yeah.
So we had a simple lunch in the office, and Tonko enjoyed it, and so did our queen. And it was like a shock, It was like, all of us in the office seeing Tonko, and listening to our presentation and asking questions, taking notes, and and he was also concerned how the welfare of our employees, what we do,
Right.
and how I build the market. So Tonko is a very intelligent person. Tonko is very intelligent.
He's clearly a man of the people. We'll take a short breather right now, and we'll come back with more questions. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Mr. Famous kembali lagi untuk musim yang keempat, menampilkan tetamu-tetamu yang popular dan extravaganza. Mimi Omar cakap, Misha Omar pandai masak.
Why not? Wonton. Okay.
I punya rasa lebih manis. You know why? Sebab you sangat manis. Nah, menu yang sihat, sedap dan mudah.
Organik kan ni?
Terus bersama-sama dengan saya, Raifah Zulkifli, dalam rancangan masakan penuh berinspirasi hanya di Famous to Famous di Bernama News Channel.
Berjalan-jalan ke tanah rata. Singgah sebentar membeli air kelapa. Perut berbunyi, lapar tak terkata.
Mercik! Sedap!
Jom kita saksikan dulu koleksi tahu apa.
Let me coba ini. Makan.
Setiap Sabtu, 2:30 petang, hanya di Bernama News Channel.
Hello. Thanks for staying with us on The Nation. You're still with me, Elaine Abdullah, in the studio and speaking to Datuk Radha Krishnan. He is here to talk to us about our current Yang di-Pertuan Agong. The topic is the King and I. And of course, speaking of the coronation yesterday, you had the privilege of attending the coronation and witnessing it for yourself. Tell us a little bit about that experience and what you took away from that.
I must say, it's a lifetime experience for me to be there to watch the whole proceeding going through, and also listen to Tonko's speech. The speech emphasized a lot on racial unity, how we Malaysians can come together, play a role in unifying Malaysia. And I think Tonko said it from deep down from his heart. I could see the reaction Tonko when the speech was going on, how Tonko wanted, the country to come together. And I believe, and a lot of Malaysians, we believe that our particular king, Tonko, will bring Malaysians together. Because in the last few years, we had a lot of issues and all that. But after Tonko has come, the king, and listening to Tonko's speech, and also many of them reading the press interviews Tonko did, we have come together. And this factor is Tonko. Because of Tonko, a lot of Malaysians feel very proud today to be a Malaysian, because what our king has told us. And I believe this is the king that is going to unite the country and bring all of us together, and this country will prosper under the present king. And because that much of love and care Tunku has for the nation and the people. And same thing, yesterday was history in making, which I gather millions were glued to their television sets watching Tunku giving the speech and the whole coronation. This never took place, because over the years now a lot of people don't watch television.
Yes.
And I think many of them just said it's no point. But
Many of them see that as just, one of those things. It's just an installation ceremony. It's not relevant. Nobody can connect to it. But I think, as you mentioned earlier, a lot of people were actually listening, were actually taking notes from the message that he wanted to share.
the question is why? I mean, why all Malaysians has come together?
Yeah.
I mean, as I said, the history in making yesterday, because this is a king they love. This is a king they know that cares for the nation, and will bring us together. So they wanted to see or witness the coronation yesterday.
I think the press and the people have been fascinated by our incoming Yang di-Pertuan Agong as well as Raja Permaisuri Agong. They have been very real, they have been very relatable, they have shared stories. There have been a lot of pictures of them being a couple as well, and they're being very close. I think that Raja Permaisuri Agong has shared some intimate details about her younger days, about her and him, in terms of how they are with each other, how they rely on each other, and how they depend on each other, and how they support each other at home as well as in the public as well. And I think these are the things that we can learn from them. As you can see here, they are together. They're looks
A
like
very loving couple.
Very loving couple.
Very loving couple.
People call it like hashtag relationship goals. If you have a marriage and you have a family, these are things that you want to achieve and hopefully be able to achieve. What's your experience with the Yang di-Pertuan Agong as well as Raja Permaisuri Agong?
For the Raja Permaisuri Agong, I don't know her that well, but I got to know her when she came to my office. She runs a lot of charities, and she also look into many organizations where charity can help them. So that much I know. They say charity starts at home.
Yes.
So Raja Permaisuri very much into that. Of course, Tunku is also involved. But as you said very clearly and very nicely, I mean, the bonding between the Queen and the King has given all Malaysians hope that the family values should come together. And Tunku is a firm believer in family values. Tunku's children all well behaved. I would say Tunku sets a lot of examples. Tunku Saraga. Even I gather a lot of the children also take care of their health and all that. So for a nation like us, Tunku has come in the right time.
What do you think, as we close this session, what are the things that Malaysians can take away as Tunku just celebrated his 60th birthday as well yesterday, that I understand. I'm sure that's a milestone as well. What do you think we can learn from him and his what we can look forward to in his reign?
I think first of all, the humility which Tunku shows to all of us. That's one thing. The racial unity, where Tunku has many times said that we need to come together. Tunku's passion for sports, Tunku's love for the subjects, Tunku's care for the underprivileged, which Tunku takes a lot of pain, to make sure during disasters and everything that they're well taken care. So there's so many things today I can't tell about all the good things which Tunku has in him, which he has always promoted. And I, as an individual, I mean, I've learned so much from Tunku. Tunku is a good listener, a very good listener. Very seldom loses his temper. But one thing about I learned from Tunku, always be honest, sincere, and trustworthy. And many times Tunku's, you tell Tunku the truth and he will accept. Don't bullshit.
I think that is the great basis for everything, where you have honest, sincere and trustworthy is a great foundation for us to have a better society, better community, better relationships, and hopefully achieve greater results in the long run. Thank you so much, Datuk.
I have to say that we have one of the best kings ever.
And may he live long and prosper. And
Daulat Tuanku.
Daulat Tuanku. Thank you, Datuk Radha Krishnan, for that slight insight and peek into his character and the relationship that you've had. He's of Datuk Radha Krishnan, Managing Director of UFL. We were speaking, of course, about the Yang di-Pertuan Agong, Al-Sultan Abdullah, Ri'ayatuddin, and his coronation, which was yesterday, which was, of course, coincide with his 60th birthday celebration. Thank you so much for that insight. Thank you for staying with us to the end of the nation. We have more stories to share with you later on. Stay tuned on BNC Bernama channel, where it's all about you. Bye for now.
Serlahkan kreativiti anda. Pertandingan keceriaan Bulan Kebangsaan 2019 kembali